Okay, for those of you watching the video to learn this, change these to minuses. It'll make it much more interesting and a different kind of problem than the first one a little bit. Still factor by grouping issue because we have 4 objects, and still greatest common factor is our first priority. Looking at A, no A, C, no C. Once you have an entire term that has nothing common with anything else or with everything else, then you can immediately say it has no common factor. Right, so there's no common factor here for the whole thing. And by making this minus 2bc, and it's not, we didn't make it minus just because we're supposed to, this is what I wanted the example problem to be. So that's how the problem's going to start off, looking like that. When you factor by grouping, you group the first 2 and the last 2 together, and what we create is supposed to be equivalent to what we started off with. So let me just bring to your attention what happens here when I start grouping things here. So AC plus 2AD in a group. Now that's officially a positive in front of that, so that's positive AC, that's positive 2AD. That group represents the same as the exact first 2 objects there. Okay. The next symbol I see is a minus sign, so I'm going to put a minus sign here. So now when I put a grouping symbol right here, what's in front of this grouping symbol is a minus sign. That minus sign is going to distribute through and hit everything within this group. And I need what's in this group here. And if I circle it, I need this whole object here to match exactly what we see there. Alright, so what I need is I need these 2 objects to be the correct sign so that when I distribute the minus sign through, they make the same sign as I started off with. So let's try this out. If I put 2bc right here and I distribute a minus sign through, what kind of 2bc is that?
A negative.
Negative, which is what it's supposed to be, right? If I put a 4bd here, what sign should I put in front of it so that it becomes negative?
A positive.
We're going to positive. A plus sign goes here so the minus, when it distributes through, goes back to the original expression. So if there's a minus in the 3rd slot when you factor by grouping, be careful, this sign right here is going to change. Alright? 2bc is right there, the minus hits it, makes it negative. 4bd is right there, the minus hits it, makes it negative. Now I've got the exact equivalent expression grouped correctly. Next, once I've established the correct structure for the factor by grouping setup, now I'm looking for the common factor in each group again. So this has an A, this has an A, so A is common to both objects. I take the A out. C plus 2D is going to be left in. Then the minus sign happens. Second group. 2 and 4 both divide by 2, so numerically 2 is a common factor for both of those. B and B is in both terms, so B is a common factor to both of those. If I take 2B out of each object, 2B out of 2BC leaves me with C, 2B out of 4BD leaves me with 2D, and it's a plus in the middle. Once I've successfully taken the greatest common factor out of each group, what I should expect is that these objects here should be the same. We can see hopefully that they are the same. So the common binomial factor at this point is C plus 2D. We write that down once. And the greatest common factors in a group are going to be positive A minus 2B in the exact order that you see it. So the common binomial factor goes in the first one, first greatest common factor, plus or minus the second greatest common factor, whatever this sign establishes the plus or minus part of it, to get the correct factored form. There's our whole factor by grouping setup. So in general, when I do a factor by grouping, when I see 4 terms, I always look at the 3rd term first to see if it's plus or minus. And if I see a minus, I just remind myself, oh yeah, I'm supposed to change the sign in here. The sign setup should be the same in both groups. Plus, 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 everything's good.